Well, tonight I'm coming at you guys with one of the best discoveries that I've made in the recent past. This is Santal des Indes by Amouroud. Stick around for this one. Hey guys, welcome back to Real Scent Review. Really special one tonight. This is Santal des Indes by Amouroud. Honestly, I had never really heard of this brand up until probably 4 or 5 months ago. I still don't know that much about them. This is really the only scent from the house that I have familiarity with. So for that reason, it's my favorite scent from the house. But yeah, it's a really good one, and I'm very happy to be sharing it with you guys tonight. So this one, although it is high quality and in the grand scheme of things fairly unique, it does remind me quite a bit of another more famous niche perfume, and I'll be going over that later in this video. So yeah, a little bit about the brand Amouroud. I believe they started in 1970 in New York City. Their original name was the Perfumers Workshop Limited. So they pioneered the concept of custom-made perfumery. So their whole thing was a customer could approach their kiosk within a department store and select from a variety of different essential oils, and the customer would have the brand create, a custom-made scent right there in front of them. So I thought that was pretty interesting, Amouroud. Again, even within niche circles, I'm not really sure if this brand is very well known. I don't know. I heard of them for the first time 4 or 5 months ago, like I said. But yeah, if their scents are anything like this one in terms of quality and craftsmanship, I'm gonna have to check more of them out. So let's get into the presentation here. Nice black rectangular box. It has a smooth outer finish, smooth and shiny, and it has some gold along the edges here. This symbol on the front that says Amouroud is actually made of metal. It's a metal plaque right there on the box. I thought that was cool. Bottom here, usual information, and the back of the box, Amouroud, made in USA. So yes, this is an American niche brand. A lot of times when we're talking about perfumery, the United States gets left out of the conversation, but Amouroud is here to change that. We have an inner pouch here. It's velvety, it's smooth, it has the 2 pieces of string that you can use to pull shut from either side. And the bottle itself now, very heavy. It starts off a little bit fat at the top and tapers down to become thinner towards the bottom. Again, we have the same metallic plaque here on the bottle, the same one that we see on the box. And the cap comes off. There's a little bit of friction, but it doesn't stick into place all the way. But if you can hear that pop, it's a nice sound here, isn't it? Cap, very heavy, gold. On the top it says the Perfumers Workshop Limited. That's cool. And like I said before, the bottle is very heavy. There's some heft to it. Good quality glass bottle. Everybody's favorite part, let's get some smell out of this canister. Yeah, really good atomizer. One of the nicer atomizers that I've come across in the recent past. Oh, beautiful, beautiful smell here. So in the top, I get wormwood, incense, and fennel. In the mid, I get rose, frankincense, and curry tree. And in the dry down, I get sandalwood, frankincense, and musk. So yeah, based on that preliminary note breakdown, this is an incense-based scent here. But incense is not the only component. It has a lot of complexity. And so in the beginning, we're gonna get some of that wormwood, frankincense, and fennel. So the wormwood is gonna give it a bitter, green, herbaceousness, and of course that's mixed with frankincense. Now in the opening, the frankincense is dry, it's resinous, it's citrusy, right? It smells like that. It smells like frankincense before it becomes smoky. And the fennel is very light here. It doesn't go straight up licorice to me, but I kind of get some soft licorice nuances in the back there. So in the beginning, wormwood, frankincense, and fennel. Beautiful opening. And in the mid, I get some rose, more of that frankincense, and some curry tree. Now, the curry tree is gonna be the most prominent note in the mid. So what does curry tree smell like? Well, it's very green, it's sulfuric, and it's a little bit spicy. So sulfuric, what does that mean? Well, it's kind of like a salty exhaust. If you think salty exhaust from a car or any sort of automobile, you might be thinking, oh, that sounds very unpleasant. And normally I would agree, but the way it is incorporated into this fragrance is absolutely magical. So we get that slight sulfuric tinge mixed with some spice and a touch of, like, I don't know, burnt wood maybe in the background. Now, if I had to summarize what does curry leaf actually smell like, just in simple terms, think of like a smoky, salty cardamom with a little bit of cumin thrown in. So that's curry tree. And it's mixed with some rose. The rose is not extremely floral. It's mostly just there to add a little bit of a lightness, maybe a slight wateriness in the mid there. And it definitely adds a distinct soapiness. At least I think the soapiness is coming from the rose, but it might be coming from the sandalwood in the bottom. I am not absolutely certain, because in the bottom there is a lot of sandalwood, even more frankincense, and some musk. So the sandalwood is of the kind of soft and soapy variety. It's also quite lactonic and creamy. It goes a little bit milky. Honestly, it's kind of a milky sensation, a milky scent that I get in the bottom here. Typical musk, it's a non-animalic type of musk. It's the type of musk that you're gonna get in most perfumes out there. Maybe it lends just a touch of powderiness to the bottom, but really not much at all. But the most dominant note by far in the dry down is the frankincense. So in the beginning, the frankincense, we get the resinous and citrusy qualities of, you know, the frankincense resin, but in the bottom, it is pure smoky incense. It smells like the inside of a cathedral. Very, very smoky, incensey in the dry down. So if you're not a fan of smoky incense, you're probably going to greatly dislike this fragrance. But if you are a fan of smoky incense fragrances, you need this in your collection because, in my opinion, it is one of the best. All in all, smoky, woody, soft, and spicy, this fragrance here. Wow, wow, wow. Like I said in the beginning, this is one of the greatest things I've come across in the recent past. It is an amazing fragrance. It includes most of my favorite notes. It's a great quality fragrance. The craftsmanship is very nice. It's perfectly blended. Now, I actually discovered this one because it smells a little bit like Idole de Lubin, which is, you know, within the niche realm, a fairly well-known fragrance, fairly sought after. It's one of those niche fragrances that a lot of people hold high up on a pedestal. For good reason. It smells amazing. However, at retail, Idole de Lubin is a little bit out of my budget, let's say. And also, I find the price to performance ratio is just not very good for Idole de Lubin. What I mean by that is it's quite expensive and it's not very strong. So I did extensive research, and that is how I came across Santal des Indes. By the way, Santal des Indes means sandalwood of the East Indies. So the East Indies being basically Southeast Asia, Indonesia, Malaysia, all those countries. It is so named because Mysore sandalwood is a very famous, probably the most famous type of sandalwood used in perfumery, and it comes from that region of the world back during the Age of Discovery, where the large European powers were sailing the seas looking for treasures. Mysore sandalwood was a big commodity. So this is named after that region of the world, and it's named after, I think, Mysore sandalwood. But yeah, going back to the comparisons to Idole de Lubin, I found this essentially as an affordable, at least a more affordable alternative to Idole de Lubin. I will say that the two are not identical. So for example, Idole de Lubin is more boozy. There's like a distinct rummy accord. So it's more boozy than Santal des Indes. Idole de Lubin also has some sweetness. Like I get a distinct kind of vanilla to it, although maybe that vanilla is part of the spiced rum that exists in that one as well. But the point is, Idole de Lubin is a little bit sweeter, a little bit warmer, definitely boozier. And Santal des Indes doesn't really have a straight up boozy accord to it. And there is absolutely zero sweetness to this one. This is very dry, very, you know, it's a little bit bitter in the beginning, smoky, woodsy, spicy, but there is no sweetness in this one. Whereas Idole de Lubin does have some perceptible sweetness. And that brings us to another question that a lot of people are probably gonna have. Does this smell similar to Bentley for Men Intense? No. I would say that Bentley for Men Intense is often its own kind of category. It does vaguely remind me of Idole de Lubin because of the boozy sweetness and the woodiness, but I feel like Bentley for Men Intense also has a little bit of iris in it, which makes me kind of think of the Dior Homme Intense line. So Bentley for Men Intense, you know, does not really remind me of this at all. This is much closer to Idole de Lubin, in my opinion. So that leads me to the next segment. Seasonal suitability, versatility, where and when would I wear this? I would say that this is still quite wearable, notwithstanding the heavy incense presence in this. I think it definitely has some class to it. It's refined, it's very gentlemanly, although I find, you know, this would be probably very suitable for a lot of women out there too. Although if I had to choose, I think it does lean masculine. Formal, yes, dresses up more than it dresses down. Although I might consider wearing this on a date. I have received numerous compliments on this, despite the fact that there is not an ounce, not a pinch of sweetness in this. It does seem to garner quite a bit of compliments. People do really like this one. This would be perfect for a high-level meeting or a work event, for example, someplace where you're gonna have to wear formal clothing. This is gonna be perfect for that as well. I also think that this would work equally well for a stroll in the park during the fall with your loved one, or even on a hike, for example. On a hike, this would be pretty cool. So at the end of the day, I think it's very versatile. Oh, by the way, I don't think this is limited to cooler weather. I honestly think you could wear this year round. Although it's smoky and incensey, it's not like super heavy. It's not extremely hefty. There's a little bit of an airy quality to it as well, but that does not mean that the performance is low on this. On the contrary, I get very good performance out of this, much better than Idole de Lubin, for example. This one lasts on my skin maybe 8, maybe 9 hours, somewhere within that time range, and it projects pretty well for the first hour. Definitely an arm's length for, let's say, the first hour. Beyond that, I get projection, a little bit of projection after 2 hours, but at the 2-hour mark, it's closer to my elbow. But all in all, I cannot complain whatsoever about that type of performance. And so another reason I like this so much, and another reason why I'm recommending it to you guys, is because it's far less expensive than Idole de Lubin. So for example, although that is quite difficult to find in the United States, I was able to find Idole de Lubin on Lucky Scent. So that costs about $210 on Lucky Scent. This one here on FragranceNet is closer to $150 US. Better buy, better performance. It doesn't smell the exact same as Idole de Lubin, but at the same time, I think this is a really, really good alternative. Probably the best alternative to Idole de Lubin that I know of. So keep that in mind if you're an Idole fan, but you don't want to throw down on a full bottle. This will get you pretty close to Idole de Lubin, although it does have its own bit of uniqueness, and the performance is definitely better. So anyway, guys, I've been happy to share with you my best recent discovery. And yeah, that's been Santal des Indes by Amouroud. Hope you guys have enjoyed. Until next time, keep it real.